Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Web3 Business Podcast, brought to you by tokenomics. My name is Rob, and as always, I have my colleagues Kay and Ed here today. Welcome, guys.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
And we have a very special guest, Jason, who is the co-founder and CMO of Torum, which is a dedicated SocialFi application for NFT communities to create content with their NFTs. Welcome, Jason.
Hi, thank you for having me here. Nice to meet you, Robbie, Edgar, and Kay.
Thanks for being here. Let's dive right in. Kay, you had a question for Jason.
Yes. Hi, Jason. Hi, everyone. So for Jason, I have a couple of questions. One for user feedback, and my second question is regarding the market expansion. So for my first question on user feedback, how does Torum collect and analyze user feedback to improve its platform features? And for those, what are the roles does this feedback play in shaping your marketing campaign?
I see. Okay, so we basically, because we have our own platform, our own application, so users are already creating an account on signing up on our platform and applications. So what we do here is periodically, perhaps like it can be bi-weekly or monthly, depending on the objective and the goals of the things that we wanted to test out and see. So periodically we will reach out to certain users in our own applications to just basically, it's a very interpersonal feedback, I guess. So it's a one-to-one. So we just ask a couple of questions. What do you guys think about the applications? What makes you want to stay on the platform? What's the reason that you don't find this application not that interesting anymore? These sort of questions, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then you've collect those information and then shape your marketing campaigns, your future marketing campaigns.
Yes, and I think that there's a very interesting thing about feedback here is when we collect feedbacks, our end goal here is to try and validate an assumption, or it can be a hypothesis that we think about our target users or the general market. So let's say I have a hypothesis, so I come up with a product or I release a feature, and then after I have that feature, maybe 1 week later or 5 days later, I'll reach out to certain users among the communities and ask them for the feedback. And then after I get the feedback, and then I try and guess what are the things that are still lacking in my application, in my platform. Because ideally, even if we ask our target users what they want on the side of internet consumer applications, and the target users might not exactly know what they want. So our best guess here is we try and gather feedback and learn from this feedback and try to come up with even more hypotheses, more theory, more principles, and one by one we try and find and compile and choose the one lacking use case, or can it be a feature that is still missing out on the platform, and then we integrate it again, and then the process repeat itself again and again until we find the product market fit in the Web3 industry.
All right, okay. And for my second question, Jason, since you also mentioned like targeting your market. So for the market expansion, here in Token Minds, we believe that we should not target blindly in terms of targeting, acquisition, and conversion strategies. So for that, what data-driven approach does Torum use to identify new market opportunities and expand your user base?
So the method that we are the principle that we follow is, number one, what's the current industry pain point that we are trying to solve? I think that is very important because I believe that when I look at the entire Web3 industry as a whole, a lot of the projects or even teams, they are not actually trying to solve a problem, but it can be a problem that they're trying to solve, but their solution is not feasible enough to in the short term or even in the long term effectively solve that pinpoint. So without a pinpoint, we can't really achieve that product market fit. So on the data side, we try and explore the different verticals across Web3. So with Torum, we are SocialFi, but the target users that we're trying to serve is basically the entire general Web3 industry. So that is a very big proportion here, right? So we try and narrow it down and see, okay, let's separate, let's look individually at each verticals. It can be DeFi, it can be NFT, it can be GameFi, Metaverse, or any other spaces. So with each verticals, they have their own pain points that they face, and we try and see, okay, our core product positioning is a SocialFi platform. So how can we help them solve their industry pain point from the perspective of a SocialFi platform and application? So with that in mind, we have our first couple of steps compiled, and then from there on, we choose the most critical pinpoint that we feel that resonates with the not just one vertical, but also applies to the general Web3 industry.
All right. Okay, Jason. So for now, I don't have any additional questions. Maybe later. Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, Kaya.
I got quite some points there to jump into. I really like your approach. I think a lot of entrepreneurs can definitely take inspiration and guidance from those kind of fundamentals of entrepreneurship almost. And I'm very curious about it. But maybe Ed, do you want to dive into some technical sides first?
Yeah, sure. So my question for you is how does Torum handle the scalability issues, especially considering the growing number of users and transactions?
Oh, that's a very good one. So our approach is again very different from a lot of the players across the Web3 space. So what we do here is our main objective here is solve an industry pain point, and then from there we try and achieve product market fit. So most of our database is hosted on off-chain infrastructure. So we are not really concerned with the scalability issues that are faced by Web3 protocols, because at the end of the day, Torum is not a protocol, and we in the very early phase. Especially, I say this from a consumer social facing application, it is not necessary for us to go for the decentralization first, because at the end of the day, what we want to do here is to help the specific verticals to solve their industry pain point and to achieve product market fit. I think that only after you have the product market fit, you validated your thesis, your idea, your perspective and vision about your own product. Okay, once you validated that, only then you go for decentralization. From the Torum perspective, our goal here, our perspective here is achieve product market fit, and then we go for decentralization. I can take one example. For example, with Farcaster and Deso, they are all protocols, right? But there are applications that are built on top of it. So with Deso, they are Focus, and with Farcaster, they are Webcast. So they are launching a protocol first, and then they build an application on top of it. So with Torum, we do it the reverse way. We want to secure the product market fit first. So we launch an application on an off-chain infrastructure, and then after we achieve the product market fit, we go for decentralization.
Okay, understood. Thank you for that. So you mentioned that all your databases are off-chain, right? So does that mean that all the posts there in your social platform are not considered as transactions?
What do you mean by non-transaction?
What I mean is transaction in the blockchain. So it's not you don't need to pay for gas fees every time you post.
Yeah, and I think that that's the best way to do it because ideally, um, let's just face the reality. I'm just going to be very open. I can say this for the entire Web3 industry. Not when we are going to choose a social application to use, I believe that decentralization is not even the first thing that comes to our mind. Our first thing of our mind will think is that is my friends are my friends on this application, and does this does this application help me to solve any social needs or any other concerns or problems that I face right now? I think that that's from this criteria alone. So decentralization should comes later, not at the first stage. And sorry, Edgar, what's your question again?
Yeah. So what my question was, if the every time you post,
Mm.
is it considered as a
Okay.
transaction if you need to pay for a gas fee?
Yeah, and I think that implementing applications like what you say on the protocol right now has also faced this problem. I mean, it doesn't make sense at all from the economic perspective. If I have to pay a fee, it doesn't matter if the fee is negligible or not. It's a fee is a fee. Every time I like or comment or follow a person on accounts, I just don't think that it really is very. I don't think that it's friendly at all for mass adoption.
Yeah, right. I understand. It doesn't make sense, right? If you need to pay for a gas fee every time you post. So
Yeah.
I think that's it for all my questions. Thank you.
Yeah, that also looks back a little bit on that sentiment, right? I mean, I know Jason, you have been in this space since you graduated. At least that's what I got from your profile. You're running Torum for several years, which is probably a decade in Web 2 compared to Web 3. And yeah, what we're just talking about gas fees and a level of centralization. This was a very strong sentiment years ago, right? When people started getting to blockchain and they thought that was a new that was the future. But now people start to realize that's not really what people actually care about. They do care about having kind of the digital value stored on the blockchain, because there is no way you can do it on a single database or in a centralized way. But other than that, there's no pain points necessarily on hosting an application on a centralized server, especially on a cloud-based one.
Yeah.
So that's quite interesting. I think the way you're talking about these things as well. Of course, you have quite some experience, obviously, but you're also relatively young, right? You graduated, I saw, in 2020 from a finance master. Is that correct?
Actually, to be more accurate, I study finance, major in finance, but I never actually completed my studies. So I think I have like 3 or 4 semesters left before I decided to quit my studies and went all YOLO into Web3.
But you jumped right into Web3, right? In
Yeah.
essence, as an entrepreneur.
Yes. Yeah.
And you have been working on that ever since. How has been your journey? I'm sure there's a lot of other young people that are maybe having the same aspirations. And are there any tips that you can give them? For example, you have a good level of education. Not everybody has it. Not everybody needs that. That's a different story. But one, would you recommend that, having a degree like you're having? And two, during your entrepreneurial journey, is it all been learning by doing? Because you cover some really kind of fundamental basics about building businesses and focusing on pain points and product market fit first before focusing on the technology and all those kind of fancy things, which are how good businesses are built, obviously. Or is it something you just still got guidance and education on while working on your businesses? How was that journey for you?
For the first question, I don't think that degree is really necessarily. I think that the Web3 space right now is like the internet bloom back in the 90s. So it's still a very open open book. I considered it as a Wild West, even in 2024. I think that there's still a lot of things, still a lot of infrastructures, still a lot of opportunities and problems to be solved. So, but still, it's ideally, if you have some prior experience or even expertise, it doesn't matter if you're in Web 2. Okay, I think that what Web3 lacks right now is people with the relevant expertise, skills, and also vision to truly solve the problems in this industry. Not just about chasing the hype and like what we saw on Twitter on a daily basis. And okay, Robbie, what's your second question again? Can you repeat?
The second question is, after you graduated, like in the recent years, building out your business in Web3, did you learn everything by doing all those, for example, the things that you were talking about, or did you have any guidance or education during that journey as well?
Okay. For my experience in Torum, everything basically is a first-hand experience. We just basically have a vision, and we try and experiment with different ways of how we are going to build the product. So I major in finance, right? But I come into Torum as the marketing lead, and before that, I don't have any marketing knowledge as well. So I guess there are different ways to learn. So one, I just Google everything. Right now we have ChatGPT. So keep on studying. There's a lot of books that I read throughout this journey because when we started Torum, it's just 5 people, and only one of us have a degree, and 4 of us have no degree whatsoever. And so it's a very open mind, and we even though we have a direction of where we are going, but we don't exactly know how we are going to do it. So it's a very tedious process that culminations that led us to truly come up to go with the SocialFi direction. It can also there are not just learning, I guess. There's also some luck involved. For example, the reason why we have a look at social, because in 2018 we stumbled upon a platform called Steemit. It's the first Web3 social blogging application. Sorry, not application. Social blogging platform. So people can basically create blogs, create content, and get paid in the native Steemit token. And so we thought, why not we try and do something bigger? Why not? Why should a social application, social platform, just be limited to blogging? And things goes on and on. Yeah, one thing leads to another, and then throughout this journey, it's definitely involves a lot of self-learning, especially because we have no mentor. Where in the very beginning we have no VC, no funding, nothing whatsoever. None of our family or relatives are entrepreneurs. So there's a lot of things that we had to just how do I say this? Just throw my hand into it and just YOLO, and okay, we made some mistakes on this end. Okay, we remember it. Okay, we solve it, and then we do not repeat it on the next one. Just a continuous process of experimentation, learning, and optimization. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, a lot of things there to kind of deep dive into. But you mentioned Steemit for a little bit here, right? So I haven't heard much about. I haven't been following them. But of course, it was a big deal back in. Do I say that correct? 2020. Around that time, it was a few years ago. That was really hyped, right? What happened to it, and what? Yeah.
Okay. So what happened is the community was not happy with what Steemit is progressing. They have their own problems now with the delegators or voters. I'm not sure how they name it. So there's a Web3 entrepreneur called Justin Sun. So he's the founder of Torum. He basically saw Steemit, and he took over the Steemit platform, buying it directly from the founder and creator of Steemit. I forgot his name, but from there he accumulated a lot of the Steemit native token, which gives him more than 51%, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, it's a very large voting power that Justin Sun get. And the community again was not happy that Justin Sun attempted this hard takeover. So the community then gathered together and start a fork. And now Steemit, the Steemit platform still remains today, but there is a huge proportion of the original OG Steemit Steemians. They have forked to a new platform called Hive. It's a new blockchain again. It functions just exactly like Steemit, but the community just don't want to get influenced by Justin Sun's power in the Steemit platform. And when this thing happens to Twitter on X, there's a lot of outrage because, like what you said earlier, back in 2020 and 2021, people are paying a very big attention on decentralizations, censorship resistance, and many other Web3 ideologies. And what Justin Sun did was basically crushing all these beliefs and Web3 beliefs and values on his feet. So the community raised it up on Twitter, and all the other KOLs who saw this issue then share their own thoughts, and basically everyone was criticizing Justin Sun, and so it got really big and very massive up until when the Hive fork happened. Binance then list Hive onto its platform, and it's the value just skyrocketed very up. So yeah, I think that was basically the summary of it. It's a very interesting case study, very unique in even in Web3. We don't see that every day, so very cool.
That's indeed quite interesting. One of those crypto epical stories, and a great segue into going into you guys' tokenomics. How did you guys set up your tokenomics?
So in the very beginning, just about this, need to clarify, because we have our own V1 product and V2 product. What I have previously discussed so far is the V2. We have not yet announced it publicly. Maybe we're going to do it by 21st June, which is today, Friday, maybe in a couple of hours later. So our tokenomics is designed in a way that 50% of our total tokens are allocated to community incentives. So the community incentives part can be distributed to related to platform usage, or even additional incentive for different NFT communities for them to ease up the onboarding process through our platform. And then the team, we only allocate ourselves 5%. So there are 800 million total token supply. So the team only has 5%. So the rest will be distributed to marketing, and also capability reserve, and also strategy development, the development cost.
Okay. So it will play an important part of the platform as well, in terms of incentivizing users to generate content, participate, engage.
Yeah, because we want to reduce the influence of the team in terms of the tokenomics. I think that's very fair. If we only look at ourselves 5%, and considering that throughout the entire years that we are building Torum, from 2018 to 2024, even though in our V1 version of tokenomics we have unvested team tokens, but we have not sell a single team token allocation until today, because I truly believe that the Web3 way, from the Web3 way, we need to it's a responsibility for the creator and also the founding team to properly demonstrate value through the product before attempting to even extracting any value through the tokens. And in the future, who knows, the tokens, our native tokens could be governance tokens, right? So I think limiting the influence of the team is a strategically better alternative moving forward.
Okay, we're almost running at the end. Kay and Ed, do you have any other questions to add here?
No, my end.
For me, I have one quick question for Jason. It seems like you're a learner, right? You learn a lot from experience, and you've mentioned that you've been reading a lot. How do you pass it on? Like the education, like how do you pass it on to others? And I'm not sure, but I think you're based in Malaysia, right? So where do you think Malaysia is in terms of the Web3 adoption?
Spreading the knowledge that I learned. I don't really do talks, but because I feel that our product needs to achieve a certain level of product market fit before I'm going to sharing my own perspective. Because what I know right now, what's in my head right now, they're all hypotheses. They are all there's still a lot of uncertainties, and my responsibility here is to bring these uncertainties, bring it to the market to validate whether or not this, the way that I'm thinking, how a SocialFi application should be designed, how the referral should work, how we're going to onboard NFT communities, and etc. etc. These are all in my mind theories, and my objective is to test it out first. Yeah. So before that, I don't think that I will be going to share, but I do share the similar share this learning through my own in my own team, through the Torum team, and also from offline events. I always share with different Web3 entrepreneurs to see, okay, like how they manage the team, what do they think about consumer application, what do they think about can be Polkadot, Ethereum, these kind of different things, and try and see how products, applications can work together for a better Web3 future.
All right. Thanks, Jason. Yeah, I think that's for me. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, and as usual in this podcast, we always ask the same final question, which is, what kind of tips and advice would you have for fellow entrepreneurs in this space?
I have a lot on my mind. So I'm just gonna go with first one, focus on solving industry pain point, because that's where the values come from. Without value, customers, your users won't come to your platform. You can try and incentivize your users with your tokens, but it doesn't work, because be it Web2 or Web3, customers has to find value in your product before they are going to stay and retain on your platform. We got to give them a very solid reason for them to use our product on a long-term basis. Incentive is just a distraction. It distracts your target users from using your product genuinely, and if you don't plan it well, it's going to affect you a lot in a very negative way. And my next advice is be careful with VCs, venture capitalists, because there's a saying, choosing a VC is like marrying. So choose your partners well, and there's a lot of different loopholes in Web3, and try to research more on who you are comfortable working with and what kind of values does particular VCs provide to you before signing that agreement. or else it's going to affect your token performance or even tokenomics to a certain extent. Yeah, that's all for me.
That is really excellent advice, and also on the VC point, that is an important realization. What is their point? Why are they in the game? What are they trying to achieve? And does it align with your own vision, especially your long-term vision, and especially when it comes to your tokenomics distribution and kind of release schedule? Whereas maybe if you work with more of an other type of investors, they're automatically more on the long term. But with VCs, it's of course a different game, also in Web3. But thank you so much, Jason. Highly appreciate it. And thanks everybody for watching. Kay and Ed, as always, thank you as well. And see you next time. Goodbye.